Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. This is Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the Shout Out Show. Hope you're having a great Wednesday as we make that slide to Gobble Gobble Day, Thanksgiving. I hope that everybody who's on the road, you're traveling safe, you're getting to your families, people getting in that kitchen, fixing those meals, because you know this is a time of family, time of fellowship. And it's a time really to get together as we begin to literally ease into the end of 2021. And what a 2021 it has been. Brothers and sisters, the breaking news, clearly as we speak right now, is that all three defendants in the Ahmaud Arbery trial were found guilty on all charges. And there's cause for celebration, but I feel like it's more a cause for investigation. As we began to look at these things, as I talked earlier about America always having the Home Alone face when it comes to social justice, particularly with African Americans and the poor, is what is interesting, brothers and sisters, is again we have kind of moved our space, if you will. We kind of moved our space whereby folks are beginning to celebrate, but it's moving away from really what the facts of this trial were. And the facts of this trial is not the facts of the trial, but it's also how we got to this point in the first place. By nature, yes, I'm a comedian, I'm a writer, I'm a journalist. These are true. So sometimes when we have these discussions, brothers and sisters, it's not that I'm trying to put any kind of damper on justice. These men deserve to go to jail. Absolutely. I've been on record all throughout the last year talking about the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Ahmaud Arbery, when it first happened, I was really upset. You can go back and look at that first show we did where I was literally and emotionally in a bad space talking about what happened here. And even now, brothers and sisters, when we celebrate justice, it doesn't bring them back. Just like we talk about exonerations, it's tough to celebrate somebody who was found innocent after doing 42 years in prison or 37 years in prison, because the process, brothers and sisters, it tells us that process they were in failed them for that amount of years. It failed them. It failed their families. It grew in many regards a lot of disconnect with the justice system. I don't trust the justice system because the justice system, it just doesn't work slow. It works indiscriminately. It only deals with the people who can afford the truth, or frame it better, people who can afford to frame the truth. And what we have with Ahmaud Arbery is a young man, and while we celebrate, this is Thanksgiving. Think about this, a time for family. He won't be home, brothers and sisters. He won't be home for Thanksgiving. And that seat at the table that reminds his mother where he was, that empty seat, it won't be filled. It won't be filled by the joy of the lawyers and the Sharptons and the Jesse Jacksons and Crumplers and all those guys who put themselves out on the line yelling for social justice. This trial, brothers and sisters, almost like George Floyd, and this preempted George Floyd, underscores something about us. It underscores, in some regards, that maybe we need to look at ourselves in regards to what we're seeing. And the problems that are happening around us happen when people believe that they have permissibility to treat us this way. That somehow we won't react because we're so normalized, we're so numb to all the things that are going on that we can't possibly mount a meaningful reaction. We can't possibly take our anger and our rage and put it in something creative that changes the situation. Clearly, Ahmaud Arbery was a young man. Let me say this again. He was a young man doing young man things like working out and going running. He wasn't hurting anybody. Brothers and sisters, we saw the tape. This is not a man who was thinking about stealing. He wasn't running with a TV. But even then, brothers and sisters, you needed to read the transcripts of how he was described in the courtroom, where the prosecutor talked about his dirty feet and his dirty toenails. He had just been killed. His mother was in she's in the courtroom listening to these people try to frame this man as he's some type of animal, and not the people who killed him as animals. And over and over and over and over again, brothers and sisters, there is the unequivocal submission of the okey doke. The okie doke has been something in the African American community, in the Muslim community, in the Latino community, in the poor community, and the white poor community that's been going on for years. And the okie doke is built on the premise, brothers and sisters, that you can't win, that you can't mount an intellectual challenge to derail this foolishness, to somehow, brothers and sisters, take back justice, take back equality, and stop acting like people owe it to us. We own it. It's your birthright. Clearly, in this trial, brothers and sisters, it was challenged. And while we will celebrate guilty verdicts, there's only 3 guilty verdicts. This was a conspiracy and a cover up. We're going to talk about it here on the Shout Out Show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, brothers. And we will see you. That's my group going off. Let's hit it. Satana, the Shout Out Show. All right, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. I want to go ahead and just welcome in my shout out family. They're so loyal, man, and just beautiful people. Let's go ahead and give it up. We're gonna give a shout out to Sister Ree. How you doing, Sister Ree? Good to see you on the show. Hope you are feeling better. Made the walk for you this morning. Peace and blessings to your son and your husband. Make sure I told them I was thinking about them. Much love. Next up, we got Johnny L. Thomas, my little brother, better known as JT in the house. How you doing, JT, man? We appreciate you coming on the show. I know what you're doing right now. You are not answering the phone to your relatives. You are not answering the door because you ain't trying to cook all that food for people. In fact, what I would suggest, brother, is you get old newspapers, leave them in front of your house so people think that you have abandoned the place. As always, peace and blessings to you and the family. Brother Eric, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Eric Carter, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate you, man. And we got my brother, Bilal Salahuddin, representing Sister Sonia, but Salahuddin, his lovely wife. Thank you for coming on the show. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beloved. Good to see you. My main man, Adam Khan, all the way from Ontario. What's up, big Adam? Good to see you on the show. What is a show without Adam Khan around Thanksgiving? It's just a show without Adam Khan around Thanksgiving. I'm messing with you, man. Always good to see you, brother. Much love. And we got Mr. 6 o'clock straight up, straight down. My main man, Altaf Rashid, the official Canadian ambassador to the Shout Out Show. Altaf, good to see you, beloved. And of course, we have the man of numerous cents, brothers and sisters. He is the owner of Tarifa Altar. He is our brother, Jordan Richter. And I will make a special announcement right now. Our Saturday spotlight will be Brother Jordan Richter talking about the scent business and just a whole lot of stuff. I mean, this gentleman was a world-class skateboarder. You know, he's going to give us history, and I want people to really pay attention and tune in because I really love his story. It should be a book. Jordan, it should be a book. It should be a movie. It should be a lot of things. But we're going to talk about it on the Shout Out Show first with your permission. And I think we're going to even do we're going to do a showcase of some of his materials and stuff like that. Lovely oils. And of course, we have Sister Satana Whitfield, our consultant producer who has joined us today. We appreciate you, Sister Satana. Brothers and sisters, before I get into let me just go ahead and get to the thing. Shout out. What's going on, brother? Jordan, Jordan, Richter, brothers and sisters, has he mixes some of the scents for me. We've come up with different titles like Burnt Midnight. We come up with all kind of stuff, but a true craftsman in the world of scentology, if you will. You've seen some of the ads, and we're gonna run those before we come on, bring them on the show, just so you get a chance to check it out. Midnight Israel, that's the one we made. Midnight Israel. Yeah, people go, what does that smell like? Oppression. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get it. Look, Satana's like, you gonna get it kicked off the air. Satana, you look like a 1950 old black man. You gonna get us kicked off the air? Shut up, fool. I appreciate it. That's Jordan's got the rabbinical blend. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about Jordan as we move towards that date. It'll be the first Saturday in December, so don't miss it. So let's go ahead and get to it. Ahmaud Arbery is no longer here. We got a verdict today. 3 men found guilty. It wasn't surprising they'd be found guilty. Here's my hesitation towards celebrating. And with all due respect, anybody could jump in. I always tell people, while I'm the host, I'm not the single voice on here. If you have something to say it, get it off your chest. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying I'm aware of certain things, and this is the way I'm going to frame it. The thing about Ahmaud Arbery, while we're celebrating and we got these guilty verdicts and the minister's on the steps and blah, 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 let me tell you guys something. From all the evidence I took in, from the beginning to the middle to the end to the verdict, I'm going to tell you guys something, and I hope it doesn't get you upset, but damn it, we got lucky. We got lucky. Even with video evidence, we weren't really talking about Ahmaud Arbery. We talked about George Floyd because it happened the minute we could put it out in the internet and spaces, social media. But let me explain something to you. We got lucky. If those 3 men were smart, and they weren't, and they took his body and moved it to another part of town and did not say anything, you probably will be looking at a cold case in the state of Georgia. What we forget, brothers and sisters, is there was a process to bring this to a level where it'd be some type of judicial prosecution, a process, if you will, that these men would go through. And it wasn't smooth at all. For the most part, brothers and sisters, the people who should have also been on trial were the district attorney, the abiding police. Because you got to remember, lies were told about Ahmaud Arbery. It's not that he was running down the road and these guys ran him down. And that wasn't the original story. His mother was told, brothers and sisters, that he was killed while committing a robbery. That he was in a criminal act. He was in the process of a criminal act. And as a result of the criminal act, he was killed. And that woman said it didn't sit right. She said something was wrong with it. She said it was incomplete. And when she began to do her own due diligence, may Allah be pleased with her. When she began to do her own due diligence, she began to unravel a whole lot of lies. The dots weren't connecting, if you will. And she was the one who presented the case that this is not right. And even then, the prosecutor said, go away, hush. Black woman, we don't want to hear from you. Ain't no, look. A white guy going, ain't no way a black woman gonna tell us about. And they treated her like that. Like she was common. Not a mother, but she was common. Not somebody who bore life, but someone who was common. Not someone who was intelligent, but somebody who was less than intelligent. And in this case, it wasn't intelligence, it was less guile. It was less, she was dealing with people who had less integrity. And in this process, brothers and sisters, by accident, the video of Ahmaud Arbery shows up at a radio station website, and it's on for just a minute. But the way social media is, just a second, it might have been on for a week. And when they got that, brothers and sisters, it began to be, I want to say the juxtaposition against what had been said in actual documented paperwork, it wasn't matching. And then they had to pull these things together. Now, let me even throw this out here. It wasn't even just that we got lucky, but this crime happened in plain sight. These men were allowed to go home literally from the scene of the crime. They were fishing. enjoying life for 2 months while this man was never coming back. This young man was never coming back. And the torment that his mother had to go through, knowing that something was not right. My heart goes out to the Ahmaud Arbery family because they had to relive this stuff. So while we're talking about victories, to get that victory, they had to relive all the lies they were told, all the misleading information they were given, all the prosecutorial misconduct, if you will, that had happened. Only thing with Ahmaud Arbery being only way with him not being exonerated 40 years later was that they killed the man. And in this space, brothers and sisters, I say we have to do better. We have to do better. You can't rely on a system that the system is going to break. Not even it's going to break. It's already broken. It's proven over and over that it can't be trusted. Literally, last year, I would say things like, we, particularly African Americans, need to detach ourselves from this system because it was toxic. And some people say, no, you're not. No. Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, even Muhammad Ali, may Allah be pleased with, all of them had an idea. It was just before their time. And it wasn't necessarily to disconnect, but you have to get away from things that are unhealthy to see and understand why they're unhealthy and to be able to develop systems for yourself. I say with the Ahmaud Arbery guilty verdict, brothers and sisters, we got lucky. We got lucky. Because you can find other cases where things happen in plain sight. There were no guilty verdicts. There were no guilty verdicts. We watched it. Hear me now. We watched it on TV. We watched Mr. Blake get shot. Now he's paralyzed. Breonna Taylor killed in her house. We watched these things. We just watched a young white man who comes from another state into another state with a rifle and kills two people and just one. And he walked. Now, let me even throw this out here. One of the things that I want us to really, really focus on, if at all, is the idea that it's not that we were just lucky, but we were lucky because the people who perpetrated these acts were arrogant. They literally thought, and for a time they literally thought that they were going to get off. I don't need to bring up Derek Chauvin because if I do that, Facebook is going to kick me off saying I'm trying to incite a riot. But people do these things in plain sight, believing that the law is going to protect them. A law for who? A law for them. A law for them. A law that they know, if put in general purview, general public, if you will, for public consumption, there aren't enough of us to say that this law is bad. There aren't enough black people to vote against the law. There aren't enough Latinos to vote against the law. There's not enough money to go and turn a law over. And in that space, people develop confidence and develop arrogance. And like I said, we got lucky because the people who killed Ahmaud Arbery were arrogant. Satana, come on in. So it's been a crazy couple of weeks. We got
it's been a crazy couple of weeks, but
we got Rittenhouse, we got this.
Yeah. And then exonerations of,
a lot of exonerations.
A lot of exonerations.
I had to tear the exonerations apart. I'm like, no. How do you celebrate the fact that you made a mistake?
Right. I mean, and these exonerations, were over 50 years, right? So you have the Malcolm X, the brothers in Malcolm X, they were exonerated. The Grove Park, I believe, Florida. It's just like over 70 years, right? They've been exonerated. But in that time, exactly, they're dead. Their families have been negatively impacted, right? And so, and I think I was talking to my dad about this. I was like, I felt that it was a gimme. So right before the Rittenhouse, they put out the exoneration. And in another case, I can't remember right now, but I felt like, and I think I said it on the show before. I was like, I think he's going to walk. I think that Rittenhouse is going to walk.
No,
But
you did say you said he was going to walk,
yeah,
and I said
but
I'm gonna. I said I'm gonna try and have a little faith in the system. Now I have
right,
no
right.
faith.
No faith,
But
right? So I really felt that, because they had put this exoneration out prior to it was more like a gimme, right? It was like, we gave this to you, right? So then this is going to happen, and that was just really how I felt, that they were saying
well,
that,
I felt with Rittenhouse.
mm,
I thought with Rittenhouse, what was interesting is there was a hesitancy, if you will, of
mm,
African Americans to really delve into this thing because it seemed like a case of white on white crime.
it,
So
it it
it was that, and it's almost are we able? And the interesting thing, and I got very upset. I was like, wait a minute, George Floyd, black, Breonna Taylor, black. It didn't stop anybody else who wasn't black from coming in and
right, right,
focusing on that thing and
yeah,
making things and Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. I can't tell you how many Black Lives Matter
right,
rallies I saw that led by white people, and I don't have a
right.
problem with that. It is
I
what
feel
it is. Actually
yeah,
do have a problem. So but we won't go into that. But I think the thing is, and we have this hesitancy whereby we are we're stuck to this beat. We're stuck to
mm,
this beat where if it isn't this beat, oh my gosh. I saw a comedian last night, Fam J. She had just this brilliant piece. Um,
mhm.
Essentially she was on drugs watching white people dance. And she
Okay,
says, yeah, she was on drugs and mushrooms or whatever. And I'm paraphrasing, she says she's watching white people dance for an hour and a half. And she goes, it wasn't that they were off the beat every time. She goes, these people are free to do anything they want to. They don't even have to dance to the beat. He said, black
right,
people, we got to dance to a beat.
right.
And I
And
think
that leads me
this
into,
process, we've been dancing to that beat.
yeah, but that leads me also into the environment that said that, this was okay to do, right? This is like this, and I know this is part of the last administration, presidential administration. I felt that the environment opened up enough where people felt that it was okay, that this was, I mean, when the videotape came out, I was like, is this a movie? Because it reminded me of like a Rosewood movie, right? Going
Mm-hmm.
down like this country road in the back, and then men on this pickup trucks and like with guns. I'm like, is this a movie?
It's
And
not a
so
movie.
like,
We're watching
it's not a
Haitian
movie. It's not a
refugees being
movie.
chased down by
It,
guys on horseback.
it's for sure, for sure. And so it was really like, it's like that was so horrific. And I think that and I know when we first started, it was around the time that we first started the show, right? Because I remember that was like one of the big
Big things.
events that we talked about. Yeah, when this came out, so it was like around the same time we started. But looking at that video, I'm like, it was just ridiculous. And I'm like, what is the environment that said that it was okay to do? And then the reason that they really found out about it, like you said, Miss, and, again, condolences to Mr. Arbor, his dad, and Miss Wanda Cooper, his mom. But
Mhm.
it was Miss Cooper who actually went ahead and said, you know what, this doesn't sound right. And so she did
Exactly.
her investigation. And
And it
so
wasn't a hard investigation.
right, but then in order to prove their point, the father of the son who killed him took this snippet to the station, and that's how it got played, right? And so thinking that it would make them in a good light, would put them in a good light, that he did this, not
And that,
seeing that
and that was the whole
it was
thing.
insane.
They
Yeah,
felt like they were heroes.
yeah, for
They
sure,
felt
for
like
sure.
they were whatever, bounty hunters, slave catchers, whatever. But they felt like
Right,
they were heroes. And I'm like,
right.
that's
But
Charlottesville. This is Charlottesville. This is
sure.
uh
Mhm. Mhm.
January the 6th. Everybody that showed up for the insurrection at the Capitol, they felt
Right.
like they were doing their patriotic duty.
But let's look at this. It was a policy on the books that yes, they could do this, right? So
I
that
mean,
policy was just rescinded, like because of this Ahmaud
because
Arbery
it's
case,
gonna
right?
make
So
it's gonna
right,
make Georgia look bad.
ex, ex, Yeah, but but again, we need to look at policies, and that's what we need to do. We need to stop wanting to do this feel good, okay, let's march and let's have the government, put stand, kneel on one knee. I'm like, what does that do? Like they go back to their offices and that's it, No, we need to
Well,
look
it's a lot
at
of
changing policies,
there's a
right?
lot of symbolism, and I've been on
Mm-hmm.
record talking about what parts 1 and 2. Let's
Mm-hmm.
let's tear up the damn Constitution. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
work.
Right.
Um, and I'm like, you're talking about a couple things. Number one is, what is structural management of truth
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to justice? These two have nothing to do with one another.
Right.
They have
Right.
nothing. If anybody watched the trial and you watch the defense people actually defend these three animals, it had nothing to do with the truth. And I'm like,
It's
if
ridiculous.
you
It's
have,
sickening.
if you don't have integrity in your court officers, your court appointed officers of the court, where does this thing work? You literally can't trust your DA. You literally can't trust your prosecutor because all they are geared to do is win, not interpret the law, not interpret the
Mm-hmm.
situation. One of the
Mm-hmm.
things about Clinton that I will always hold a very nasty streak towards Mr. Clinton is like, hey man, when you sign 3 strikes, you're out. You ushered in mandatory sentencing.
Right.
So
Right.
the guy who killed three
It's still
people gets
impacting
5
us
years.
to this day.
Yeah. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
can't get it back. You can't
Right.
get it back. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that these are the things I'm talking about. We'll be given this Ahmaud Arbery verdict, and people feel good, but they don't really feel good. Like I don't feel good because I have to look at the whole situation, how we got there in the first place. It wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
normal procedure. And I'd even go further by saying, the police didn't do their work.
No.
How
No.
do you have the police not do their work? This was one of the issues where they thought they were going to get off because they didn't have effective police work going into the trial. So
But the
everybody has to come in and
ties.
do. Everybody has to come in from the political
Right.
police side. They literally
Mm-hmm.
have to recant stuff that they said. That doesn't happen. They literally
Mm-hmm.
have to recant the reports that they gave. They literally
And
have to recant the evidence that they took in. And you have
mm-hmm.
all these things like people like, yeah, I'm like, this system, I'm yelling. Stop looking over here. The system is broken over here. And they'll give you Ahmed Arbery and say, hey, yeah, that's one we missed. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that have been missed.
Over decades. Over
Yeah, I mean,
decades.
there was the old
Absolutely.
in LA, there was an old Rampart thing with the Rampart police. And they were like
Mm-hmm.
the gang affiliate. They were the gang squad. And they
Mm-hmm.
were a rogue group. And they did everything from killing to drug dealing and da da da.
Drugs. Yeah.
And once it was revealed, they had to go back into the books and look at all the convictions that they made, all the cases that they made. And a lot of people walked out of LA County
Huge
jail. Out
scandal.
of
Huge
huge
scandal. Yeah.
scandal. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, this is justice. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this Ahmed Abed, that's Rampart's cousin over here
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
the same system is being used.
Right.
And the DA who was very friendly with the defendants
Right. Right. And
made
again,
a
those are ties
decision,
to the police. So for the
made a,
police,
made a
right?
decision and and,
Yeah.
and and shoot it away. She
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah.
The guy who comes on, he shoots it away because there's no reversal. They don't believe in reversals in the prosecutor's office. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
wants because they get paid to make convictions. But I'm like, but you're not paid to make educated decisions, which
Yeah.
may or may, hey, we're Muslims. Your actions are, your actions are argument for or against you.
Sure.
Even if it's against you, you have to say that. This is
Yeah.
not the case here.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's law run amok, but I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
At what
So
point in time can this continue?
yeah. So I mean, so this is a bittersweet, um, verdict, because it shouldn't have happened, right? It shouldn't have happened. Everything that led up to it, the policies and environment, just wasn't in place, and racism, right? Um,
Well, I mean, I mean,
um,
it's.
so
I was in college. When I was in college,
mm,
we tried to talk to the school administration about divesting from South Africa.
Mm.
About, listen,
Yes.
your money is supporting apartheid. These industries are supporting apartheid. You had Not Gonna Play Sun City. You know, Grandmaster Melly Mel's. I'm not going down there because of apartheid. These are like the first early entertainment protests.
Mm.
And I was sitting with somebody. I'm like, what is the deal about apartheid? It doesn't connect here. Why? And I went to a Jesuit school. I'm like, you're supposed to be the bastion of compassion,
Sure.
investing in apartheid. And I was like, what is it? And they do. And a guy said to me, do your homework. He said, do your homework. He said, what's the relationship? And in that relationship, it was public record. We found out that that particular school was invested in Kimberly Clark Paper Company, and Kimberly Clark
Mm.
was invested huge in South Africa. And once we made the connection that you make money with Kimberly Clark, and Kimberly Clark is making money with and we just made the whole thing about your relationship with Kimberly Clark, and
Mm.
it totally changed the dynamic.
Yeah.
And it actually made the Milwaukee Journal, a Journal of the Sentinel, one of the two or both.
Okay.
They did not like the press. I was like, yeah, because the arrogance was we wouldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
We weren't
Yeah.
smart enough to figure it out. And again,
Yeah.
the information is in plain view. So it's like, yo, we have to be people that say, listen, if it's in plain view, we need to address it. But if it's not in plain view, we have to develop our efficiencies to go even deeper. You know,
Right.
to look and say, like I said, essentially, to me, this was a cold case. Absence of
Mm.
video, this is a cold case.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that went from like for a few months before
Yeah,
anything, before it was even public, right?
right. Before we
Um,
begin to even hear about it.
hear about it. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
it's a blurb.
um,
It's like a police blotter blurb in Georgia.
yeah.
And again, what does it say? He was in the act of committing robbery.
Elaborate. So, as we go into this, Thanksgiving holiday where we're supposed to be with family,
Yes.
we do want to send condolences to the Arbery and, Miss Cooper's family, for the loss. And again, this is a bittersweet verdict, right? The guilty is a bittersweet verdict because they don't have their son with them. So,
This is. I mean, this
peace
is
and blessings to them.
tough. It's a
Yeah.
tough situation. A lot of people are
Hmm.
going through this Thanksgiving. Last Thanksgiving, they had people, family with them.
Yeah.
This Thanksgiving, they're celebrating by themselves. It's hard. Shout
Hmm.
out to Aunt Shirley, Catherine Duaz, Brother
Definitely.
Andrew, Miss Eleanor. Keep her in your
Miss
prayer.
Eleanor.
Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
Nancy's on the rebound.
Hmm.
I mean, we have a lot of people who are dealing with health issues. We just want them to be better and be able to spend that time, have some meaningful longevity with your family and watch your kids grow and things like that. Because it's these days it just can't be taken for granted. It just
That's
can't.
right. That's
And,
right.
and, and I say
Yeah.
and I say this: we can't be in terms of taking care of our families and protecting our families. Like this case, it can't be that we just got lucky.
Right.
The infrastructure has.
Right.
We can't think that
That's a
we just
change.
got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a change. So I do want to wish our our family, our shout out show family, a wonderful
The wonderful shout out
Thanksgiving.
to our family.
Shout out to your family community. Have a wonderful time, with your family over the next few days. Have some great eats, and, definitely, but enjoy one another.
So what
That's
we're
the
gonna do
major
is
point.
we're actually gonna
Yeah,
do a rerun, brothers and sisters. I've decided everybody should be with their family for Thanksgiving.
for sure.
Do
Yeah,
not worry about the shout out show. We'll be back on Friday. Well, not Friday, but we'll be back on the following Monday.
Monday.
But I
Yeah,
want you to enjoy your families. I want you to overeat to the point where you have to loosen that belt buckle. I want you to eat to the point where you have to sleep on a particular side. I want you to do all those things. Indulge in overeating. This is the way to do it and make sure that, hey, you are clear about just family and that time. All right.
right,
So
right.
that's it.
You have this last comment about your mom.
Yeah. Thanks for factual verdict. Finding all three guilty of murder. As a Southerner, many cases turn out different, affected on affected blacks killed by whites. And give a shout out to my mom too. Mom went to the Dave Chappelle show last night, and she hung in there till like 2:30. She hooped and hollered for everybody. Came on stage. EU, shout out to EU, came out doing the butt. All of the old go
Like
go
go go music.
try to jump up and go go and hips popping out of place and stuff. Just stood there and just remembered. I remember I could actually stand and watch go go. Shout out to Sister Erica Badu, great show last night. Shout out to little brother
Awesome.
Dave Chappelle and all the comedians,
Awesome.
Jeff Ross, Fam B, Donna Rollins, and Andrew Blake from New York. Great job last night. Great job.
Awesome.
We appreciate
Awesome.
everybody, and we will see you guys on Monday. It will be a rerun tomorrow. Belt buckle, now elastic waistbands is the key. You know, I'm gonna tell you something, uh, Adam. I just been around dudes that don't even wear pants. They just
Oof. Okay.
they just
And
put on
with that, we're gonna thank our sponsors. So
they just put on shorts. Like I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna eat popcorn upstairs. They don't need to get
okay.
dressed. So we give a
Before we
shout out
sign
to
off,
financially. Give a shout out to BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Again, that's BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. Check on your finances, brothers. This is question how you can make your money work for you. If you don't want to go to the website, go to 1-888-496-6845. Again, that's 1-888-496-6845. We'll give a shout out to our other sponsor, our newest sponsor, Convenient Urgent Care out of Houston with 3 locations in Cypress, Pasadena, and Houston on Parker Road. Shout out to CUC. And also, we'll give a shout out to Bayan Islamic Graduate School. You can go to bayanonline.org and find out about their programs. Islamic, they have a doctorate program for whatever you're trying to do. In terms of Islamic studies, Islamic leadership, but they have Islamic education. They also have one of the premier programs for Muslim chaplaincy. So make sure you check it out. Other than that, brothers and sisters, there will be a rerun on tomorrow. We'll pick. I'm Satan. I'm let you pick the best of the best. Thanksgiving. Pick it. You might even go to our old Thanksgiving show. We had one. We did.
yeah.
We got 2 of them. So listen,
Okay.
you
Yeah.
guys have been great. I'm gonna let everybody get to their families and be respectful. Thank you so much for supporting the Shout Out Show. Peace and blessings to your family, your loved ones. If they're near, give them a hug. I'm Preacher Moss. This is the Shout Out Show. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Well, team, we've come to the end of yet another show. And I have to say, I had a good time, and I hope that you had a good time as well. Listen, at this part of the show, we have no more show. I could literally sing a song saying we have no more show. However, to spare all of us that embarrassment and chaos, I'm just going to say, please join us tomorrow here on the Shout Out Show, Monday through Thursdays, and every first Saturday, we do our Saturday Spotlight. Here we are again, 5 to 5:30 on the Central Time. And of course, we're going to do our rebroadcast at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock p.m. And of course, that would be 6 o'clock on the West Coast. So, time for you to go because it's time for me to go. I think I will do that song. Thank you for coming to the show. Thank you for coming to the show. That's all the lyrics I wrote. But you get the idea. See you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Shout out.